Today we're tackling one of my favorite beginner DIYs, painting stripes on your wall. This is my son's room, which has no character. He's got gray walls and it's just not kid-friendly at all. Now the best thing about painting stripes is that you don't need a fancy stencil. You do need some tape and a little patience and a few tricks that I'll show you to get crispy lines. Okay, I'm gonna start painting my son's room. Now to start with, I actually have to sand the walls, which is something I've never done, but the previous owners used kind of like a glossy paint in here, which means that I need to sand the walls so that my paint actually sticks to them. If you have a glossy paint and you just paint over it, it will just chip and peel. So I just got this hand sander, it's pretty inexpensive. And then I will also be priming it. So we've got quite a few steps to go before we get to the good part. First things first, prep matters. If you're painting stripes, you want to make sure your walls were not glossy beforehand because you're going to risk peeling off the paint when you peel off your tape. Let's start off by painting these walls. These are gray millennial, probably painted like 10 years ago. So I wanted to give my walls a crisp coat of white paint. So if your walls already have the color you want for your lighter stripe, you can skip this part. But if not, this is the time to paint the whole wall one solid color. This will be the color of your lighter stripes. So I started off by using a paint edger. I really love this tool. It made painting so much faster. And I use an 18-inch roller because my son's room actually doesn't have a lot of obstructions, which makes it really easy to paint. I painted 2 coats of primer and then I moved on to the paint. I actually chose Chantilly Lace by Benjamin Moore as my base coat and I'm painting in eggshell. You definitely want to paint using an eggshell or satin finish. Flat paint can actually peel with the tape and high gloss can look really streaky. Day 2 of this project and the room already looks so much brighter. I'm going to be adding a really fun stripe actually all around the room. So the most important thing that I have is my laser level, which I've already kind of got going. And I think this is going to add such a big punch of color in this space. Now for the fun and scary part, taping out your stripes. This is where precision absolutely matters. So first of all, you want to decide on your strip width. So I did mine the width of the painter's tape just to make this really easy. And I used the thickest painter's tape that I could find. I'm also using yellow frog tape. This is the kind of tape you want to use on freshly painted walls. And I've just got a little piece of tape as my spacer and I move over my laser level every time just to help me get that perfect alignment. It does take a little bit of finessing to get that perfect laser line. Do you see this? Do you see this line here? What are the chances that this would have lined up so perfectly with the edge of the wall? Like, you can't plan for that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that's the stuff that makes me really happy. A perfectly planned out wall, just by chance. This project is taking way more of my sandy than I expected, but this is how much progress I made after day 1. So I made a lot of good progress. This is actually taking me a lot longer than I thought. In some ways it's easier, in some ways it's harder. I think that we'll be able to wrap up the taping today, which means we can paint it tomorrow. I'm done. I am done taping every single inch of this room for the stripes, which means I can now paint. To get the crispiest stripes, make sure you really press the edges down of the tape with a credit card. This will really help seal the edges. Today is painting day, and if I'm honest with you, I am sick to my stomach because I'm so nervous that I'm gonna mess up the painting or the painting's gonna bleed through. I couldn't sleep last night. Because I just spent so many hours taping these walls, but there is nowhere to go except paint. So let's get into it. This is the part where you're gonna be like, is this necessary? Yes, absolutely. Once your tape is on, take your base wall color, the lighter one, and paint over the entire wall. This seals the tape and fills any tiny gaps. So when you paint your darker color, it won't bleed through underneath. Let that dry for about 60 minutes or just until it's dry to touch. It's finally time to paint the stripes, and I'm using this beautiful color by Benjamin Moore. It's called Pacific Rim. My son and I debated a lot on the color that we wanted to paint the walls, and we both love this color so much. He loves teal and blues, but he also really loves red. So I'm gonna do the wall these teal stripes, and we're gonna add lots of red accents into this room. I was honestly so nervous because some of the tape started to crinkle underneath the paint as I painted it, but I really tried to maintain painting the walls vertically so none of that tape would peel off. I am done one coat, and I am just feeling so nervous because all this tape is crinkling. Like, it's not peeling up, but if I can show you, you see like this texture, you see this, it's crinkling. What does that mean? What does it mean? Like, am I gonna be crying when I pull the tape off? I'm nervous. I wanna like paint the second coat really quickly and then peel it off. I need to let this just dry a little bit because if I try and paint it when it's wet, I'll just get like clumping. I applied a quick second coat of paint after the first one was dry to touch. I am literally so nervous and excited to pull off the paint now that it's painted. So I'm gonna pull it off a little bit tacky so that like I get a really crisp edge. Fingers crossed. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is pull off the baseboard tape. Now this can either go two ways. This can be really satisfying or this can be really horrifying. Here we go. Oh my gosh, that is so crisp. Oh my gosh. This paint is like sopping wet. Or like the tape, I mean. I'm so relieved. This is so satisfying. So make sure you peel off the tape slowly and add an angle. And while the paint is just a tiny bit wet. And if you did the sealing trick, this is where you'll see the perfectly crisp lines. Seriously, it's like pulling off a sticker and revealing a treasure. My kids came home from school and were so excited to see it that they had to get in on the action. This is like a core memory for them. And if you're wondering how much tape we actually used, well, a lot. I think for this room, I used about 7 rolls of tape. And there you have it. You officially have a striped wall that looks custom, bold, and super professional, even if you're just a weekend DIYer like me. Let me know in the comments what color or style you're trying. It could be vertical. You could do a thin and a thin line, or a checkerboard even. I'd love to hear your ideas. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a DIY tip. And next week, we're gonna finish up this room because it doesn't have all the big personality that my son has. We need to add lots of red and whimsy and energy because he is such an energetic kid.